Hey guys, how's it going? I just got a pretty awesome DVD in the mail today, and I wanted to take a lot of time talking about this because this particular movie has been one of my favorite films for my whole life, basically. Um, it's just one of those movies that means a lot to me, and I don't know exactly why it means a lot to me, but it's something that stood with me and stuck with me for pretty much my entire life. And of course, I consider it a favorite of mine, but it's not the typical thing that you'd expect to find in my list of favorites. I mean, in my list of favorites, you'll find some Coen Brothers movies like The Big Lebowski, and you'll probably find some Spielberg movies like E.T. You know, but one thing I've never been a really huge fan of is the disaster movie genre. I mean, I have a few disaster movies, but I've never really been a huge fan of it because when I was growing up, the disaster movie was, prototypical big Hollywood flash and bang and nothing else. But there was one movie in the disaster movie genre, or style, or mode, or whatever the heck you want to call it, that really stood out to me as an excellent example of what can be done in that style or genre or whatever the heck you want to call it. I mean, this movie was a freaking pioneer of its type. Needless to say, this was a very significant movie at the time, and it's still a significant movie today, although not nearly as many people consider it as such because they probably haven't seen it. And if they have seen it, they've seen the incredibly horrible remake that was done of it. And of course, the movie I'm talking about is The Poseidon Adventure, the original 1972 version of The Poseidon Adventure. This is, of course, the DVD that I picked up. It is the special edition of The Poseidon Adventure. And wow, I mean, it is amazing. I mean, I just watched it last night with some commentary, and whoa, it looks beautiful for a DVD transfer. I mean, it was clear that they used the original film source for this transfer. But, there were just a few things here and there. I really didn't notice any edge enhancement, but I could see some signs of DNR just from a little blurring around the edges and stuff. Not like the edges, but just like for in particular, there's a scene where it's New Year's Eve and they're all talking at a table, and if you look up, you'll notice the background is a little fuzzy. They basically selectively chose to, enhance the quality of the people that you're looking at and not the background. You see what I'm getting at? So there are small little things where it's like, oh, I wish they hadn't done that, but this is still the best the movie has ever looked on DVD or any other freaking format. So, if you're ever thinking about getting this movie, get it in the special edition form. That's, of course, not the only reason to get it in this format. So, let me show you some of what you get in this little package here. So, I don't know if you can tell, but the title is indeed embossed, as well as special edition. Nice artwork here. Um, they got the casting list up at the top. Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine. This is just a very nice looking DVD. They did something similar for the Towering Inferno, which was also an Irwin Allen production because, well, he's known for these types of movies, isn't he? Yeah. Anyways, on the back it has a list of the special features, and yes, it includes collectible lobby cards, special features, disc 1, all new commentary by director Ronald Neame, all new full-length audio commentary by stars Pamela Sue Martin, Stella Stevens, and Carol Lindley, interactive Follow the Escape feature, access 3D views of the schematics of the ship as you watch the film. Disc 2, 9 all-new featurettes. And I'm not going to list them all off, but there's a whole bunch of frickin' featurettes there. Then there's also the AMC backstory, the Poseidon Adventure, storyboard to film comparisons. And I'm sorry if you can't read these, but I'm kind of reading them off for you just in case. Interactive article from American cinematographers, still photo galleries, original teaser, trailer, and more. Yes, there's quite a bit on this, and it is the anamorphic widescreen release. And I say that for a very good reason that I'll get into later, but yeah. Now let's take a look at the inside of this baby. What you've seen is a slipcover. On the inside here, you've got a slightly more interesting cover art. Hell Upside Down, the Poseidon Adventure. But the back here is just the same as the back of the slipcase. Nothing new or interesting. But, you know, this tiny little case is so loaded that it almost can't close. I'll put it that way. So right here, we've got the first disc of the Poseidon Adventure, and then there's the second disc with all the special features. And yes, it's just a basic case, but we've also got liner notes. We've actually got proper liner notes, and this thing, I read through it. It has a bevy of awesome information if you were unaware of that information. And as I was mentioning here, here's an ad for the Towering Inferno, which I can't get out, which also has a similar style to the cover and everything, and I'm sure it's similar to this. And of course, bring back the good old days. This is an ad for a bunch of old TV shows like Mary Tyler Moore, MASH, The Time Tunnel, Lost in Space. Two of those having been, I think more of those actually, some of those I should say having been Irwin Allen Productions. Anyways, last but not least, we have this really nice envelope, Cinema Classics Collection 20th Century Fox lobby cards. This is class, people. This is a classy envelope with classy lobby cards. Now, to show you the lobby cards, I'm just going to hold them up for you and show you one by one. So here you've got the scene from just after the boat capsizes. Don't worry, they give that away at the very beginning of the film, in case you were wondering. In case you didn't know. So I'm not giving anything away. Come on now. In fact, in the trailer is basically the boat tipping over. So it's like, I'm not giving anything away. Shut up. Anyways, there's another scene. Now, what's really interesting about this movie that if you didn't know, you see their clothes look extremely dirty and everything. You think that's just really well designed costume to reflect what it might actually look like. You'd be wrong. These actors literally wore the same fucking clothes throughout every freaking scene, and when they were done with a scene, they would be hosed down and pushed off to the next scene. So all that dirt is actual collective dirt from every scene they had done in the film. And by the way, they did all of their own stunts. For the most part, almost all of the actors did all of their own stunts. There are a few exceptions, but these actors went through hell and back for this film. It's stunning when you consider you've got Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine, Red Buttons, Shirley Winters. I mean, you've got all these top of the line, Roddy McDowall. You've got all these top of the line actors who, feel they're slumming it basically, on this movie that they, see as just a simple, popcorn flick sort of. And yet they're putting their all into this. And they're putting all of their bodies into this. I mean, apparently Ernest Borgnine eventually like hurt his leg or something doing one of the stunts in the film. And a lot of people got hurt during the making of this film, which is just, I mean, it's shocking to consider nowadays when you've got all these uh, stunt actors and everything, and nobody ever does their own stunts anymore, and it's all very much more safe and playing it safe and everything, and you know that's one of the reasons that these movies nowadays just never really reach me anymore. I mean, you can fake it with CGI nowadays, whereas back in the old days, you couldn't fake shit. You had to go through hell just to make it look real. And it fucking was real. I mean, if that scene where they're swimming through the corridor wasn't enough to convince you that they're doing their own stunts, then I don't know what would be. But yeah, there's Ernest Borgnine, and I can't remember her name, but was his wife in the film. This is a really nice one to show you some of the. That's when Shelley Winter's character is about to jump in to save one of the others, and it shows you, just look at her dress. Just look at how tattered and dirty and messy that dress is. I mean, that's real. I mean, that really happened. And there's that one. I'm not too fond of that one in particular, but this one is a pure classic scene right there. Hackman going back to get the kid. I believe his name was Robin in the film. I have to say, the commentary in the film is absolutely stunning in this case too, because in case you didn't know, the commentary by Ronald Neame was one of his last commentaries ever made. It's shocking that he even agreed to do a commentary for this movie, considering this DVD was made in 2006 or 2005, something like that. And poor Ronald Neame, God bless his soul, rest in peace, died in 2010, just last year. He was about 94, 95, something like that, when he recorded the commentary for this. And let me tell you, I mean, he makes a few flubs here and there, but it is just stunning. It is like, it plays like film school 101, 201, and 301 all condensed into one excellent freaking commentary from a man who really does define himself in this, whether he knows it or not, in this commentary as one of the greats. I mean, this guy has worked in the film industry his whole life. Well, maybe not his whole life, but quite a big chunk of his life. And he's done it all. He's seen it all. And he knows exactly what he's talking about. So when he tells you that there are things that they do nowadays in these types of movies that result in those types of movies not working so well anymore, you know what he's freaking talking about. He says multiple times that he wishes he would have held Gene Hackman and Ernest Borgnine back from overacting, I guess. But that's part of what makes this movie so freaking enjoyable. I'm telling you, when I saw this movie, when I saw that it was on TV or something like that when I was younger, I would literally skip school knowing that maybe that I had a test that day or something like that. I would literally skip school just to watch it. That's how awesome this movie was to me. That's how, gripping it was. As Ronald Neame tells you in his commentary, they tell you at the very start of the movie, before you even have a chance to get settled, that this disaster is going to take place. They tell you right off the cuff. They tell you. So the rest of the next 30 or so minutes of the movie is just showing you these characters, showing you who they are, what they're like, and all that, and just giving you a greater sense for who these characters are, what they do, and how they live their lives, and all that kind of stuff. It's characterization. It's pure characterization. And without that characterization, you wouldn't give a goddamn about these characters. Even if you didn't find out about the whole capsizing thing until later in the film, you wouldn't give a damn about them if you didn't know about them, you know? And that's what he's saying. That's what he says in his commentary. That's what makes this movie work. And I agree with him. That's what makes the Poseidon Adventure work so well. You compare that to a lot of disaster movies that are made nowadays, I don't think so. That doesn't happen anymore. They don't do that anymore. And it really bothers me. If there is one movie that you're going to get, if there is one disaster flick that you're going to check out, make it the Poseidon Adventure. For the love of God, this is one of the greatest movies ever made, I have to say, in my honest opinion. A lot of people consider it too corny or cheesy, but no, it's one of the best. Deal with it. Now back to the issue of getting the special edition version of the Poseidon Adventure over any other edition. Why is that so important, you may ask? Well, this is the only properly formatted widescreen version of the film in existence, sadly. The other, well, it's properly formatted for its time, but yes, the original, the Poseidon Adventure release on DVD, not only is it fairly bare bones with some, you know, I think it has like a little thing showing you the cast, basically, and what they've been doing since then and everything. But the aspect ratio, it's matted, basically. So it's matted. It doesn't show up properly on your widescreen TV. So, if that's an issue, you might not want to pick this one up. I mean, if you have a regular CRT television still, then it might not be that big of an issue, but otherwise, this is one you might not want to pick up unless you really like the cover and everything, and it does look pretty nice. It's standard, but it does look nice, and the inside, I'll give you a look at that in case you're wondering. The inside looks a little bit like this. It has a title card there, and the disc, and that's about it. So yeah, these are the only two editions of the film on DVD, in America at least, that I know of. And this is the one you want to pick up, of course. So, you've got the Poseidon Adventure, the original disc, which I believe it just says widescreen format aspect ratio 2.35 to 1. So the aspect ratio is correct, but it won't show up correctly on your HD TV or any widescreen TV of any sort. It'll show up boxed on there, or if you watch it on your computer like I do sometimes, it'll show up boxed on there as well. So if you want it to look the way it should, the special edition is the way to go. Not only in terms of the widescreen presentation, but just in terms of everything you get. The lobby cards, the incredible audio commentary by Ronald Neame, and he just has a voice. His voice is just very, it's a powerful, moving voice, which just goes very well along with the movie. Now, it might bore some people, but if you're interested in film at all, this is just like invaluable commentary from Ronald Neame in the late days of his life. The picture quality is far better than on this release. This release, the picture quality is okay, and it's not formatted quite correctly. This one, you get everything, and you get it all the way it should be. So, yeah. The Poseidon Adventure Special Edition. If you're going to get any Poseidon Adventure at all, make it this edition. Don't buy the new one, that's a piece of crap. Don't buy this one, it isn't properly formatted for your TV. This one is the 1972 one that you really want to watch. This is by far the performance from Gene Hackman is by far my favorite from him in any movie I've seen him in. And I might actually say the same about Ernest Borgnine and some of the other actors as well. I mean, they obviously had brilliant careers at the time, and some went on to even have more brilliant careers than that. But you know, it's just this their performances in this one were just absolutely amazing. And when you consider the kind of crap they went through, they did all their own stunts. It was linearly shot because of that. They shot it in sequence basically. So, one scene to the next to the next to the next. It wasn't one scene, the end scene now, and then we're doing the middle scene, and then we're doing a scene between the two. No, it wasn't like that like it is in most Hollywood flicks now. This was done in sequence. So, yeah, when you see their clothes gradually getting more tattered and abused and everything, that's real. That's really taking place. And what's more important is that the set design is so fantastical. I mean, this has to be one of the most amazing set designs ever created. And it is a set design. I mean, it's designed to look like a ship that is turned upside down. And you literally are seeing these actors going through these sets designs, which, by the way, can actually move, and at certain scenes do actually move to a 90-degree or better angle. This is real. This is freaking practical effects, and it's absolutely awesome, man. It's like some of the best practical effects I've ever seen in my entire life. I think that's one of the main reasons I like this, is because it's so real. I mean, it doesn't really, you look at it now and it doesn't really look like a ship turned upside down, maybe, but I mean, because it's very much, exaggerated, I guess I would say. And the angles and the lighting, it's designed more to be thrilling than it is to be realistic. Do you know what I mean? It's designed to elicit a certain feeling rather than to be more realistic, I guess I would say. But it's just the way that it was designed is just so magnificent and so beautiful and so awe-inspiring. I mean, the fact that they went through this and did this themselves, I mean, some of these people were actually terrified when they were doing this. I mean, they're acting terrified, but on top of that, they were actually freaking terrified because they didn't know what the hell was going on. There was really water down there, and there was really fire there, and they were about to jump into it, and they didn't know what was going to happen. And there had already been people getting hurt on set, so of course they're freaking terrified when everything starts to move. And yeah, you remember that scene? The scene, if you've seen it before, where that one woman, I can't remember her name, she was like the singer in the film, Nani, she's climbing up the ladder and she gets stuck and she gets frozen there. Now maybe that was a part of the script. Maybe that was intended to be in the film. But you see her shaking there. She's literally shaking, and that is no act. That is her literally petrified. So it's like, on top of the fact that they're acting like they're afraid of being killed or dying, they are literally pretty freaking scared because this is literally a freaking set that can turn topsy-turvy on them at a whim. This was a dangerous feat for them to be doing. All in the name of film. All in the name of a freaking movie. I mean, it's just, you cannot sing the praises of these actors enough. You cannot sing the praises of this movie enough. It was absolutely brilliant, and what really stuns me now is that it was done on a budget of $5.1 million. $5.1 million in 1972. I did the math for inflation, and basically that's akin to about $30 to $40 million in today's market. So when you compare that to some of the movies that Roland Emmerich has created, his disaster movies, and the amount of money that he spends on those, $150 million or more per movie. And none of them come close to looking or feeling as good as this one does. None of them have the characterization that makes you fall in love with the people that you're watching, trying to save themselves and dying in the process. I mean, this is just brilliant. This is really is freaking brilliant. I mean, comparatively, I guess a movie that has done the same kind of meaningful storytelling in recent memory would with a lower budget would probably be Moon was done with $5 million, but then Moon only starred a handful of actors, less than that, one in particular. District 9 was done on a budget of $30 million, but then District 9 uses a lot of really nice CG. So it's like, didn't have CG. They did, but they didn't use it for this movie. This is all practical effects. All practical effects on a $5.1 million budget, which is akin to about $27 million today, or, to be honest and fair about it, probably akin to more like 30 or 40 million in a Hollywood budget today. So it's like, it really was shocking what they were able to do with this at the time. And yeah, the Poseidon Adventure, if you're going to get the special edition, and I don't know why you wouldn't want to get it, so get this. This is really awesome. This is by far my most treasured DVD right now. I am so happy to own this right now. Oh, yes, it's awesome. I think I'm going to go check out some of the special features right now. Catch you later. Peace. That last bit of editing is going to take a while to do because it's freaking. I stupidly let it run for about 21 minutes, and I knew that I had a lot to say, and I knew it would end up being something like that, but stupidly I just let it run for 20 minutes and flipping the camera around as well, which the audio is going to get off sync. I just know it because that's just the way it works with this camera, but it shouldn't be too hard. It's not like other cameras I've had where the audio syncing is just fucking impossible. But anyways. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm going to mute the TV right now because even though it's not making a lot of noise, I'm still afraid that it'll make enough noise that you'll hear it. Hey guys! Cheez-Its box in the background. White cheddar reduced fat. They're not really good, but they were cheap, and that's what matters. Blah. False start number 4. This is the DVD that I got. It's the Poseidon Blah. You know it's the Poseidon Adventure. Why am I saying that twice? So when you compare that to some of the movies that Ronald Emmerich, or